Welcome to the Speak Pact podcast, where high-performing speakers and the producers who hire them merge to give you the insider secrets to the lucrative speaking industry. Antoniette Roze, your podcast host and celebrated speaker agent, unveils insider success strategies. Discover a nexus of thought leaders and bookers, maximizing your potential in each and every episode. Your ticket to ultimate speaking success begins right here. Catch the transformative insights waiting for you on the Speak Pact podcast, hosted by the industry powerhouse herself, Antoniette Roze.
Welcome back to Speak Pact. I am very happy that you're here with us today, and it's going to be time well spent for sure. Today I have Elisa Boogaerts with me. She is a launch expert, and we're going to dive into how effective speaking can be when you're launching a new product, a new service, a new book. It doesn't always have to be about the keynote check. Actually, some of your biggest checks are going to come from the audience versus that actual engagement manager. So we're going to dive right in to that world. Welcome to the stage, Elisa.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited for this conversation because definitely speaking can make a huge impact for your business when you're launching a new program or service.
For sure. So you are a fractional project manager and a launch strategist. How does speaking fit into either one of those? And whether it's presenting in-house to your organization or your business, or presenting outside to attract, like speak to attract, not necessarily speak to sell, but speak to attract those premium level clients.
Yeah, so I think that it's kind of like both help when it comes to speaking. So the launch strategist side of what I do is when someone wants to launch a product or service, I work with them on that whole strategy of what that looks like. What is it that they want to launch? What type of experience do they want to give? What type of event do they want to be selling their product into? And then we go into the whole strategy of how we're going to get people there. And speaking is a huge part of that. And one of the very first things that I talk about with my clients when we're starting the whole process of launching their program, and especially if they're doing something big, like a paid event, let's say it's like a day long or 2 days or 3 days, they want to be booking and getting speaking engagements way in advance. So sometimes we start booking those 6 months in advance, 4 months in advance of their event. Yeah,
So
that
true.
needs to be part of the strategy so that you can get on the right stages before your event in order to sell tickets or invite people into it. So it's a huge part of a launch strategy is speaking, and yeah, definitely something that you need to get started on early. I find that some people can leave it a bit too late, and then they'll be like, oh, well, I need to get on speaking. And it's like, well, if you wanted to get on a summit, you probably needed to book it a few months back, to get in, because a lot of them also have cutoff dates, right? Like some speaking events that you paid for, they need you to pay for it. I don't know. Some of them are even like bigger stages, could be 6 months before the speaking engagement, which needs to be before your event.
I love that you brought that up because it's so vital. I hear this all the time. I'm working on a book. As soon as it's done and it's published, I'll start promoting it. And that's so backwards, right? You want to start booking those stages now, even if the book's not done, because there is an on-ramp. And a lot of times it's 6 months or more. And I see a lot of people, a lot of speakers who will give up at 3 months or even 6 months because they feel like they've been pounding the pavement and it's kind of getting nowhere, but there's an on-ramp. And as long as you keep feeding that on-ramp, yeah, that first 6 months is going to feel excruciating. Once you're on that freeway, as long as you keep fueling that whole ecosystem, then you have a positive calendar, right? You've got those engagements on your calendar and that income certainty. And you can, as long as you've got that team working with you or for you in the background, keeping that fueled, then you could take off during the holidays, or if you're speaking at a longer conference, whatever it might be, the engines don't stop. Because what you stop today, you're going to feel 6 months down the road. You're going to say, "How it was going so well? Why is my calendar suddenly
Right.
empty. It's because of oftentimes what you did or didn't do 6 months ago.
Absolutely.
So I love that you brought that up. It's so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
So when you talk about speaking to launch a project, I'm assuming a project, a new service, maybe even a book, how do they get those first engagements, and are they paid typically?
Yes. So I find that most, this is like you were saying earlier, are you paying for speaking or are you getting paid to speak? And I find a lot of these, especially when launching, it could be a program, could be an online program, a course, a book, even a podcast. Usually those stages you pay for, so you pay to speak on them. And the great thing is that often those paid speaking opportunities, they'll have they'll guarantee an audience size, so they might say like, I guarantee there'll be 100 people in the room or something like that. So you got a great audience in which to speak to. And often those paid speaking opportunities will allow you to make an offer of some kind. So if you are doing, say, a 3-day event to sell a high ticket program of yours, and say that, you're selling tickets from anywhere from, $27 to save $97, you can often sell tickets to your event in the paid speaking opportunity, which is usually quite an easy sell if you're doing, say, 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that. Getting people to buy your ticket. And I notice a lot with a lot of my clients, and I see it in the coaching industry, that that they'll often give a discount. So say normally the ticket is $97, it'd be like, for this event, I'm going to give it to you for 27. So it's quite an easy sell and an easy way to get those 100 people that they're guaranteed you're going to be speaking to 100 people. That conversion can be quite high. So that you can fill your event, which is also another speaking opportunity, but of course that's your own, in which to sell people into your program. So usually they're paid stages, and you can sell, which is great.
You're bringing up a sore topic, which I'm glad you are, because it's so funny to me how the average person understands that if you're going to start a healthy 6-7 figure business, there are some investments that you make. You invest in marketing, you invest in team, you invest in infrastructure. There's investments to get that beautiful speaker life lifestyle, right? There's investments to get that booming gas station on the corner. But so many speakers have been conditioned that they are just going to have somebody else do all the work for them. Not all, and definitely not my audience, hopefully. But there's a lot of speakers out there who's like, somebody else build the structure of my gas station, do all the things, and as money starts trickling in, I'll give you a little percentage of it, right? It doesn't really work that way if you're serious about a serious business. And I see this so often, even in speak for no fee, right? Speak to attract, and speak for pay, pay to speak. People don't love to hear that, but they're quick to, dump a couple $1,000s into an ad campaign. That is kind of a buckshot. Right. You don't know who you're really going to be speaking with. All day long, I would put my dollars where I know I'm in front of the right audience. I've been third party validated, because I wouldn't have that stage if the organizer didn't believe in me enough to put me in front of their people. And like you said, I know that there's going to be right fit people and at a certain number in that audience. So powerful. People buy who they know, like, and trust. I love working with speakers who not only are focused on monetizing through that speaker fee check, but they also understand the value of monetizing the audience. People are there because they're looking for the solution you have. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. They're there actively looking for the solution you have. So whether you're soft selling or you're allowed to flat out, you give an offer, they're still going to gravitate towards you and come after you if they know that you're the first step in a journey with them, and they'll hop on. So even if you get like a $25,000, $35,000 keynote check, if you're in front of 50 right fit people, that audience is going to outpay you far and beyond, especially the lifetime value of a couple new clients from that, right? Is going to far outpay you that $25,000, $35,000.
Yeah, it just won't be. Yeah, you're right. You have to invest first, and then you will recoup the money. And I know one of my clients, she just recently was on a stage. I think she paid about 20 grand to be on the stage. She had, I think, a 20-minute or 30-minute speaking spot, but she said immediate from the stage, she made over 100 grand. She made six figures right there and then there's the clients afterwards. So she was able to invite them to an event. And actually that's another strategy of doing it too. If you're not allowed to sell from stage, you could invite them to say if you're doing a free event that leads up to your bigger paid event, you could invite them to that as well. Yeah. So, which is great because then you're building your own stages, which is more speaking as well, to get people into your world. But you're right. These people that you're speaking to, they're qualified leads. And then also you, as a speaker on someone else's stage to their audience, you get that credibility, so you're already sort of credible. You're already a step towards that know, like, and trust, because if the person that they paid for their event and then they're bringing you on, they're giving you that credibility so that you can, so they kind of, they trust you just because you're on stage, because they trust the person that brought you on stage.
The most powerful marketing tool that you'll ever have is your voice and your presence, your energy. And when someone will put you on their stage or even their hard-earned podcast, people come to this podcast because they're looking for solution A, B, and C. I put you in front of those hungry audiences that nobody's holding a gun to their head to be listening to this show. They're here because they want the information that, I know there's a lot of we don't do but there's a lot of podcasts out there that actually charge guests to come on and speak by all rights, right? This is a hard-earned audience. We don't do that because I really want the freedom to choose who I put in front of my audience, not based on what they're paying me or if they're paying me. But I don't slight those podcasts that do, because this is hard flipping work. And even in the top 10%, it's a labor of love. Other than attracting new clients, we don't sell anything on this show. We do give free things away, but it's all about who gets to hear you, who gets to find you, right? Just making yourself more visible, more findable. So you just did, I think it was a challenge recently about visibility. Can you tell us a little bit about some of your strategies behind getting more visible in powerful places?
Yeah. So last week I was in, as we're going live here today, I was in a summit called the Visibility Experiment. And it was hosted by Wandana Puranik, and she loved the idea about how, sometimes in some of the speaking that we see, there's a lot of people sort of, they spend a lot of time kind of like talking about themselves and their story, which is great. Stories are awesome. Definitely worth telling stories in your speaking. But then we also learn about a lot of the whats. So sometimes as an audience member, you sort of feel you leave a little bit like, not, I don't know if empty-handed is really the right word, but sometimes you think like, I wish I knew how to do that. And so with the visibility experiment, she wanted all of her speakers to give a how and actually teach the audience how to do something that they are talking about to help them with their visibility. So that's kind of why it was an experiment, because it was a different type of a summit, which I thought was really cool. And she wanted all the speakers to be like short and concise and just like, come on and just teach your thing and teach them how, and give them even a blueprint as well that tells them exactly how to do that. So I talked about the visibility of launching, and I had a launch visibility kit that I offered. And in that, I gave 30 different ways that you can promote your launch, all of which give visibility. And speaking was definitely one of them. And there are lots of different ways that you can speak, especially when promoting your launch, like we've been talking about, paying for stages to be in front of the right fit audience. You can do something like this, do like a live, come on to Riverstride or StreamYard, or what's the one I like to use? Restream, and go live on social media and have a little interview with somebody, especially if you're going to be streaming to their audience on social media. You get exposure there, and you can talk about your event and how exciting it was. We actually did that as a bit of a promo to that summit. I did a social media live with 5 other speakers, and we got to all talk about how we're making people visible. So there's lots of different ways with speaking and different strategies, and in that I gave 30 different ways, and speaking was one of the top ones for sure.
You really can't outpace being seen and heard. I hear this argument quite a bit that I've tried that and it was just a waste of time and money. It will, just like advertising, it's always going to be a waste of time or money if your target and your message is not clear. That's foundational work to do up front. It could be a really incredible speaking opportunity. Maybe you don't even have to pay. Maybe they're just inviting you to speak in front of their people. It's not worth your time or your money if they're not the right people. So know who it is you would be going and speaking to, and is your message for them. If you get more deliberate on who you get in front of, then absolutely, these are just this gold mine. The power of your voice is a gold mine when you have a clear message, a clear audience, and a clear takeaway. I love that you said that. People will soon forget what you said. They're just going to you can ask them right after you get off the stage and they will like, well, I loved you. You're great. Yeah, I just enjoyed it. I took notes, right? But they cannot verbalize back to you what you said for the most part, but people will never forget how you transformed them, the difference that you made in their life. So that experiment is spot on, meaning speak to give, speak to make a difference, even, and it shouldn't be too much in one sitting, just like your grandmother's favorite pasta. You love it. But if she tries to force you to eat too much, you're just like, oh, I love it, but I'm just too full. That's not how you want to leave your audience. You want to give them just enough nourishment to say, wow, that was incredible. I felt the difference. Now where's my next bowl coming from? I say this all the time. Speaking is should be at the first step in a journey with you. And there's no better way to do that than getting in front of the right people and helping them find you. They're actively seeking for solutions that you have. So make it easier for them to find you. How do you knock on doors? How do you get on? So let's say you've identified some key events, key organizations that one of your clients or you would be perfect for. How do you knock on that door effectively?
Oh, good question. So a lot of the speaking opportunities that my clients look for are usually online speaking opportunities. And so they usually have like a website or a way in which to apply. I think also another great way is, well, at least a lot of speaking opportunities that I find, and I encourage my clients to do as well, is through building the relationships. Like I get a lot of my speaking opportunities from being at networking events, being at in-person events and things like that, where people are either looking for people or I set up calls with people to get to know them and start to build that relationship. And usually out of that call, they say, hey, I've got a show I would love you to be on. I've got a stage I would love you to be on. And so I find that, at least with me, it happens very organically. And I do know, like, I'm also part of a lot of networking events and communities that have specific speaker events. So there are specific place where you can go and there are people with stages looking for speakers and there are speakers there looking for stages. So this is this amazing exchange and they give the links where you can go and apply. So I usually recommend going to those types of places because then you can also meet the person, you can have a chat, you can learn about their show a little bit, and then you can see if you are the right fit or not when you want to apply. So that's how I usually recommend my clients.
Yeah, doing your homework up front beforehand. Who's going to be in the room? What kind of language do they talk? Shaking hands before speak, shake hands after. Right? That's how you're going to get those next level clients and those next level speaking opportunities as well. So let's talk about the do's and don'ts of speaking to attract or even speaking to sell. We've all been to presentations where we're just out of the gate. We just feel like we're barraged with, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. You need me or you're stupid, right? Or whatever. Not a good approach.
Yeah.
So how do we give to receive from the stage and seed that launch strategy, right? Seed that the other ways that people can work with you delicately but effectively, so that whether or not they ever buy from you, they walk away feeling very enriched by their giving their valuable time to you during the talk.
I really like to, when I think about this, I like to think of what type of experience do I want people to have when I am speaking to them or when they're learning from me. So really trying to think about that, like what kind of sort of emotions do you want to invoke? What strategies do you want to give? What do you want them to leave with? And I really think that it's like we were saying before with the visibility experiment, giving them an actual how, giving them something tangible that they can take away and do that will give them the impact, whatever it is that you want. So for me, it would be say launching. And if I was talking about doing a social media live, I might actually give them the exact steps and be like, here you go. And if it was online, I might even share my screen and be like, this is exactly how I would set up event. So then now they're educated, they know exactly how to do it. And it's great because for me, like if I can show them one of those, I have 29 more that I can share with them. And they're going to be like, wow, she actually knows her stuff. You showed me exactly how to do something. I can go do it now. And I need more of them. So I want more. And, that would be enticing. But you're right. There is a lot of people who, there is and I was been taught it as well, like a very sort of structured way in which you do a talk. And a lot of them have it where, say it's an hour-long talk, they only actually give you 15 minutes of content. And to me, that gives me an ick feeling. I've never felt great about that. I've always thought like, if I go to a talk, I'm here to learn something from this person. And I don't want it to just be 25% of the whole entire hour. Because then, like you were saying, I feel like maybe it wasn't a great investment of my time, and time's something we can't get back. And so you really want to make it valuable for people. So for me, sometimes I like to jump right in and give them something right away, like dive right into the content, whether it be like my first, if you're giving sort of say 3 teaching points, I like to jump right into the first teaching point. And then through that and through stories and through the teaching points, that's when I drop in bits of information about myself to give myself that credibility, to let them know who I am or what I've worked with and the results my clients have had. And I like to sort of drop that in sort of throughout it, as opposed to spending the first, 20 minutes talking about myself and how wonderful I am.
I love that. Never, please, never lead with resume, where people don't care until they care.
Right.
And they don't know that they care yet. Lead with big promise, with outcome, with this is what you're about to receive. And then as you go along, sprinkle in, and this is why I'm a good one to give this to you. Right. Because they do want to know, well, why would I listen to you about this subject? But when you lead with resume, yawn, right? They don't know that they care quite yet. You brought up something about creating your own events. This is another area that just stumps me. So the average speaker does not want to pay to play. They don't want to pay for a speaking opportunity, even if it's the right audience. You said your friend invested $20,000 in themselves. It's a bit of a gamble unless you know your message is going to resonate with that audience. But it was a 6-figure event for her. And I've had that happen for myself as well, where I invested a good bit and was not getting paid by the host, but that audience outpaced and outpaid by miles.
Yeah.
But this is another really funny one to me. Speakers don't want to pay to play, so they create their own event, which is expensive with regards to creating it effectively, marketing it effectively, and getting the right people in the seats. So the only time I really recommend that is if you have a very engaged, warm market already, number one, or number two, you have some great referral partners in the right area, or number three, you're willing to dump a whole lot of money into marketing and advertising, which is almost always going to be far more than what you would pay to get on somebody else's stage in front of their hyped up audience who's super excited to listen to you. You bypass all of those things, having to put on an event, having to pay to promote the event, having to get that guarantee, like you said, that you're going to be put in front of a certain number of right fit people. It's kind of that long range mentality versus short-sightedness. I call it short-sightedness versus success-sightedness. We understand that anything worth putting our life energy into is going to take some upfront investment, whether it's our time or resources, whatever it might be.
Absolutely.
And in this area, there's a lot of reluctant speakers when it comes to speaking for no pay from the host and paying to play. What do you say to those kinds of people that you come across?
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think that often if you are speaking to the right audience and you're paying to be on that stage, that you will get like the return on investment, though it may be a little bit longer term, will be much higher than getting paid to speak on the stage. So yeah, I highly recommend that. And like we were talking as well, like this is a great part of your launch strategy. So if you are doing your own event, which you are exactly right, it does take a lot of work. You know, even for me, so I'm that fractional project manager, and I work with you, and I do the strategy and the plan, and we put together all of that to have a successful launch. That costs money, and it costs money to set up all the tech. And especially if you're doing your own event, you have to have your landing pages, you have to have automations, you have to get people there, pay for the stages to get people to the event, and like all those 30 strategies I was talking about. And so yeah, it does take a lot of time and investment, and often it's very difficult to do on your own, or even if you have one VA. I've noticed that with a lot of my clients where they'll be like, oh, it's okay, I only want, because I can offer a launch team where I can give them someone to do all their tech for them, and then give someone that
Implementation.
and then give someone
Yeah.
that'll help them to like produce their event and actually be there on the Zoom with them and even help them with sales support. But they often say, oh, you can just use my VA. And I've noticed the issue with that is that they themselves, as their coach and their VA, are already so busy doing all of their business as usual activities and working with their existing clients, that to put all of that extra work on top to do their own event, it usually kind of leads doesn't
It's not
it's
sustainable.
not sustainable. Yeah. And it's a lot of energy and it's a lot of work, so you really need to get help, which is that investment to put that event in. So yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you what, the huge disappointment is you go through all of that, you invest the time, money, energy, resources, and 3 people show up, right? Whereas sometimes when you pay to play, you do get that guarantee of a certain number of right fit people that you're going to be able to present in front of. And again, if you know that your message is clear and it resonates with who you're speaking with, and you're leading with value, not with resume, then you cannot help but attract a handful of highly valuable leads, right? I'm being conservative. It's usually a lot more than a few, but even just a few, how much is the lifetime value of a new client? That's huge. So we at WPC Speakers Global, we're just launching this free gift. If you go to it now, it's probably not completely ready. If you go to it next week, by the time this interview is on all the majors, it'll be ready to go. But it's just an example of being gratuitous, giving before you ask, give before you ask. So we have yourspeakerfee.com. It had yourspeakerfee.com. If somebody's like, I don't really know what my message and my best market is, or I think I know, but I really want to know right before I invest myself into this, and what should I be charging and who should I be approaching? All of those questions need to be answered before you dive in headlong. And when you give, this is 30 years in the making, 30 years of expertise that's going into this free assessment. You'd be like, hell no. Yeah, people need to pay for that. And yeah, obviously I've got paid offers if you want to link arms with me and go that next level. But how are they going to know the kind of value that I can bring if they don't get to experience it a little bit? So whether it's a free course like you talk about, or a free resource, or an assessment, or a quiz, or a calculator, any of those kinds of things, when you're speaking on stage or in a remote situation like this, you can have a QR code, or you can have an easy website like yourspeakerfee.com or whatever it might be, where people are like, Elisa really spoke to me. How do I go the next step with her? Make it easy. Do not set roadblocks. Don't set obstacle courses. Just make it super simple. Listen, let's start here. I've got this free resource. Grab it. We can go from there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's, and then they're in your world, right? And that's when you can start really nurturing them. And I can't remember whose research it was, but they're saying that nowadays some people can take up to like 12 to 14 touch points before they might even consider buying from you. So you want to give them all of that. You want to give them different ways in which they can connect with you. And speaking is a way of doing that. So like with me, if they see me here, with you on this, and then they also see me on another stage, they see me speaking in a summit, they see me, at a networking event speaking, which I'm at next week. And so there's lots of different touch points. And if you can, the more that people see you and the more that they learn from you and get to know you better, that know, like, and trust will go up, and then they're more likely to purchase. And of course, there's other ways outside of speaking, but yeah, if you're someone that they sort of see everywhere, then they're most likely to be interested and maybe want to see how they can be part of your world. And so getting them, having that free resources, then they're going to start getting email marketing from you and understand about your other events. And so just giving them more and more touch points.
Well, talking about touch points, so many people give up far too soon. They are not going to stick around for that 12 to 14 touch points. And you are exactly right, Elisa. That's what it takes. In college, to get through college, I was a Mary Kay consultant, long history. That was in the 80s. And I made it as a very young woman to the top 30% of the company because I took that one principle to heart, right? I'm not one that wears like bee pendants or conversational starters, but Mary Kay was big into that. And so, you wear this little gold bee or what have you. And it's really about starting a conversation, making connections, communicating, and those layered. I remember my manager would always say it's all about a layer effect. Don't get discouraged when somebody says no. It's not no. It's not right now. It's not the right timing, right? And so just through that gentle nourishing and giving more than you receive, not only are you building the law of reciprocity, but you're also staying top of mind so that if they know someone who is, you're exactly who they need, you're exactly who they're looking for, you're top of mind, and they send you that way. So speaking of that, I know by this time in the show, there are plenty of Speak Pact listeners who are interested in knowing, how do I get a hold of Elisa Boogaerts and how can she help me? So what is the way you like to best be found, Elisa?
I think the easiest way is to go to my website. It is launchpartnerpro.com. launchpartnerpro.com. And in there you can find out about me and what I offer. And you can book a call because I love learning about people and I've loved learning about their launches. I find it so exciting. And also in that call, I always give like a tip, like we're talking about, lead with value. I always like to lead with value and give them some ideas of how they can make their launch more successful. Yes. And on there as well, there's also I'm just sort of starting to switch my free gift right now because I'm really, this visibility, I think is really super important. And I'm just recently actually launching myself a visibility kit that gives people stages and networking events and even opportunity to be on my podcast, which I love doing. And I just, as you were talking earlier about the different touch points, I wanted to just say that the power of having that way for people to get in contact with you. I had someone on my podcast a year and a half ago, and I recently reached out to her saying, hey, I'd love to reconnect. And she's like, I was about to email you because someone just booked a call with me and I asked them how they found out about me. And it was through your show a year and a half ago. So someone was able to go back, and through that, because she gave her contact information and because she gave a free gift, but it took a year and a half for that person to see that and make contact. So you never know, where people are going to come from or how long it might take them. Definitely it's so important to have that.
Yeah, that you bring up such a good point because that's another piece of the puzzle, right? We each are going to have our own ecosystem based on who our best fit audience is, where our most likely buyers are, the people looking for our solution, whether we're just offering a talk or a workshop, or we're offering consulting beyond that or other implementation resources, that kind of thing. But how you make that easy for them is everything. And you really just kind of hit the nail on the head with the layering, and then with a year later, somebody reaching out to you. I am not a proponent of being on every platform. That's a sure bet to either be overpaying an assistant or getting burnt out yourself. It's pick your place. Well, where do your people gather like grapes? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they at certain kinds of events? I'd pick 2 or 3 places where I become easy to find, whether it's X or LinkedIn or Instagram, depending on who your audience is. That's going to change. It doesn't mean that if you've created content for a certain platform, you can't repurpose it. I'm just talking about where are you going to interact the most? Where are you going to put your time, effort, and hard earned hours into you and or your team, and investment? Like, are you going to buy Meta ads, or are you going to buy LinkedIn ads, or you're not going to buy ads? You're going to buy pay to play stages, or you're not even going to buy that. You got to do a little extra work to make sure that you're bringing people into your pipeline and nurturing them. So
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
see people
LinkedIn is my
so
favorite place to play.
yeah, isn't it incredible?
Yeah.
I had, probably like a lot of people, I had a LinkedIn profile years before I actually realized, wow, this is a really powerful space. So how do you maximize your presence, your visibility, and the effectiveness of the energy that you put into being visible on LinkedIn?
So yeah, I like to post regularly. I post at least 2, 3 sort of times a week, and I'm part of posting parties. I actually host a couple of posting parties, and so it's a group of people, and we get together once a week. It's actually one that's happening today, being a Tuesday, and so everybody, I have just it's quite simple. I just set up a Google sheet, and if people are interested, I add their name in. I give them access to the Google sheet, and I put everybody's LinkedIn links there so they can all connect with each other. And then once a week, everybody adds in a link to their post. And in that same day, we all go into everybody else's links. So I'll open everyone's post and I will comment on it. I will react in some way and I will read through it as well. So I actually spend time on it. And if you have, say, 5, 10, 15, 20 people going to your post on that day that you post it, that'll really boost up the algorithms and share it with more people. And yeah, so I love doing that. I think that's a fun way of being visible on LinkedIn. Doing LinkedIn events as well. So even something like this where you can stream to it and doing a LinkedIn event. I know we had a LinkedIn event here. And I think I shared it with my audience. I'm hoping it's also on my profile as well as your profile. So that's another way of getting more visible. Yeah, so those are things I really like ways to get visible is posting parties, and LinkedIn events.
Let me ask about the posting party, because LinkedIn is a little bit funny. So I'm just curious. So Meta, you be friends with whoever, and you just pals with somebody you haven't seen from high school in 30 years or 20 years, and you're just kind of friends with you connected with and friends with pretty much everybody. But what I've noticed about the LinkedIn algorithm is they take a lot of stock in who you're connected with regards to who they're going to push you out to, who they're going to make you visible to. So these posting parties, fun concept. I've never done one. Are they topic based? Like if someone was in a like space as me, then we would share each other's back and forth, or is it just whoever? And you're all kind of, because that could mess up. I don't know, because I haven't done it. It feels like that could confuse the algorithm. Just playing a little bit of the devil's advocate, because I actually love the concept. I'm just wondering, how do you make sure it's the right people putting you in front of the right people, I guess, and you
Yeah.
putting others in front of your right fit audience? Because if somebody in there is a dog trainer and you're posting their stuff, could really confuse the algorithms.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like to keep it to sort of like-minded people. So if, say, if it's entrepreneurs that are kind of more on the business side of things, and that would be a good group of people to have. So I definitely ask them what their businesses is about. And also it makes it easier as a person who is commenting. If I was going on commenting on a dog groomer, I might be like, I don't really like it. That sounds interesting, but I don't really, some people, we don't. It makes it a little bit difficult to comment. So I always make sure that they're sort of like-minded in the same sort of industry or doing the same type of thing, so like I have one that's all business entrepreneurs. You could have one maybe that's more personal development. You could have, different things. So I like to keep it
Good
kind of
stuff.
similar. And then you can also just set up different ones and just set up different Google Sheets yeah, do it throughout the day. So yeah.
And understanding the platform too, because not all platforms are alike and all platforms are definitely not equal for you. Someone else might be a super good candidate for TikTok, Instagram, whatever else it might be. Whereas I'm not going to reach my right people there. I'm not saying I'm not going to, but it could be. Um, you said something about commented, like LinkedIn rewards engagement, engaging. They're not so interested in how many likes you get, not even how many shares you get. They want to see that you have sparked a conversation, and they like to see it within the first hour of you posting. That's
Right.
really where they push it. Like I think I'm over 12,000 connections on LinkedIn, and it's always been kind of like a bummer that they only push it out to 500 or 700 people even ever see my posts. But somebody recently said that's actually really good for LinkedIn because they may only push you out to 70 people or 100 people unless they trust you and unless they trust that they're going to put your content in front of the right professionals. This is a professional network. So
Mm-hmm.
that first hour is biggie. They do not love LinkedIn is super big about this. They do not love external links. So what you said about live events within LinkedIn, great. They love that. I will say my biggest impressions, the the posts that LinkedIn gives the most impressions to in my network is my LinkedIn newsletter because it's within their ecosystem. Again, another free way to make yourself visible. They don't even charge for you to do a newsletter on their platform. And anytime you make a new connection, they take it upon themselves to invite that new person to your newsletter. It's been so powerful. We have keynoters, high impact edge. My team, I co-write and my team does all the promoting for me.
And that's
But
something that you can
keynote,
use in a posting party as well. So if you, release something in your newsletter on the day of the posting party, you can have a post about your newsletter content that sends people to the newsletter, even link it in that so you can get more engagement organically there too.
love that. And that's one more touch point, like you
Right.
were saying before. All right. This has been an excellent interview, Elisa. Thank you for bringing your brilliance to the
Thanks for
Speak
having me.
Packed audience. You know, my final request in the Speak Packed show, and that's because we are on a universal, people hopefully in my world are on a universal pact to make the greatest impact with the power of their voice possible. In
Mm.
your world, that's by getting visible, getting findable. Is there a challenge that you can give the Speak Packed audience if they just went today and did this simple action or the simple whatever it is that they are going to see themselves far more visible this time next month?
Mm. Uh, well, I have different ideas. I'm like, oh, which one do I want to pick? But since we're kind of been talking about LinkedIn, I say that you could do that. Make 10 new connections a day, send direct messages, and then also comment on other people's things, because I think that really boosts the algorithm. If you're DMing people, I think even like in LinkedIn, if you send a direct message, that the algorithm will push your post to their feed. So just by even like just connecting with somebody on a direct message, you will organically be more visible on their feed, and then also going onto their feed and liking and commenting. So I think that can really, whichever social media platform that you like, I think that does DMing. I think that's a good strategy. I think it also works on Facebook and Instagram as well. So yeah, go out and make connections and comment on other people's things. Give first, and I think that will be reciprocated. So
It goes back to that law of reciprocity, right? That generosity. When you are commenting, not commenting to sell anything, but genuinely adding to the conversation of their post, you're building law of reciprocity. They understand LinkedIn loves that, and they're thankful that you took the moment out of your busy schedule to stop and say something in their post. And then you're exactly right. LinkedIn will then push you to all the people, not all the people, but their percentage of people that they will, to their audience. So just one more way of speaking. It's a form of your
right.
voice. You're speaking, and their audience, who otherwise may not You're not on their map, right? May not see you, get to see your comments, and now their profile is pushed out to them. So know the platform. LinkedIn rewards engagement, interaction, conversation. So converse. Don't just like, okay, this is a pet peeve. So let's say somebody makes a comment on your post and you just like it or love it. That is, you're leaving so much on the table, because LinkedIn is not going to push you out to the other person's audience unless you're talking back and forth, whether it's your post or their post. So say something. You can think of something intelligent to say back, not just like or love, right? Their comment on your post and vice versa. Don't just like or love their post on their feed. Make an intelligent comment. And if you are low on time, it's okay to let AI give you some prompters, some ideas, and then you take it from there. Obviously, it should be from you. But if you just like have too much going on and you can't think about those 10 comments a day, definitely drop their post data into your favorite AI. How can I offer some value? 12 words. You need to do like 12 to 15 words for LinkedIn to love you. They don't want a 2-word comment. They want 12 to 15 words or more. They reward conversation. So, give me a 12 to 20 word piece of value that I can give to this post. Once they give you that back, then with your knowledge, your discernment, you tighten it up and then you add that. But sometimes it's just, I've got 50 million things going on today, and to try to think of a response for 10 posts. But if it's part of your daily routine, then you just a half hour, you devote a half hour in the morning or the evening. Morning is best when it comes to LinkedIn, but every platform is different. And just engaging, just purely engaging, not asking for anything. Even in the DMs, people like to French kiss on the first date and think they're building a relationship. That is not, do not pitch slap people. Oh my goodness, I cannot stand that. Make a new connection, and within seconds, they're pitch slapping me. It's like, okay, you obviously have no interest in getting to know who I am, of adding value to my audience. You're really just here to try to sell me on something. That is not a way to build a relationship. So this industry is all about building that know, like, and trust connection, and the power of being visible and getting your voice out there is definitely the first and foremost way to do that. Would you like
Can I
to
just add one more little
Yeah.
thing about the commenting? Because we're saying that LinkedIn rewards conversation. After you comment on someone's post, ask them a question. Be like, well, what do you think? Or what is your strategy? Because then that's easier for them to comment back and answer your question. So I would say that, like, to keep the conversation going, maybe you can ask a question back.
Oh, I love that. I thank you for throwing that bit of advice in. Big. We can just kind of close down the conversation by saying thanks. Great.
Love it.
Or ask another thought. People love to share their know-how. They love to share give them the opportunity to make it easy. Give them the opportunity to do that. Really great suggestion. Well, Elisa, thank you for being with us on the Speak Pact show today, and bringing so much light and wisdom. And we ask those listeners who are out there who got value out of the show, post it forward, be generous, help people find this show. It is based on generosity, hard earned, decades earned knowledge just handed to you on a silver platter. Share it, spread the love, give us the love and likes and reviews, honest, obviously, all the way across. Look up Elisa Boogaerts. Her website and that gift link will be in the show notes. Also, look her up on LinkedIn. She's super active on LinkedIn. That's a way to engage with her as well. All right. Ciao for now.
Thank you for listening to the Speak Pact podcast. To become a recommended speaker of Antoniette's WPC speaker agency, or you are a host or planner looking for a dynamic expert in optimized performance, Antoniette would like to personally meet with you. Secure a time with her at speakerbooker.com. Again, that is speakerbooker.com. It all begins with a vision, a voice, and a pact to impact. Join the Speak Pact movement by joining our new private Facebook group at the link in our show notes. Find us on nearly every social media platform at One Antoniette. That's number 1, ANTONIETTE, or simply hashtag SpeakPact.